One of the very exciting things that I remember clearly is having Robert interested in exploring flute lessons. I don't know how that came about, but I do remember that he and I went into Cambridge and had an interview with Mr. Dushkin. He was 11 at the time, and we went to the window shop that had a wonderful tea room, and Mr. Dushkin was, it was the first time I had met him, and he said that he hadn't interviewed 11-year-olds very many times, but that he put Robert through his paces with his flute, and at the end of the interview he agreed that he could come for the whole summer season, which Robert did do. So when would that have been? It would have been 1954. So and then when at the end of the summer season there was a concert at the camp, and we invited Granny to go with us, and we drove up, and the sight, he had been waiting for us, and as we drove into the camp yard, it was a rainy day, and he was standing in his white shirt and white pants underneath the awning, and he ran out to meet us, getting wet, of course, but he was so glad to see us, and ran out into the rain and just gave his father a great big hug, and then me one, and he also, he wasn't sure about Granny. I don't know if he had ever given Granny a hug, but he certainly did, and we all felt as though that long ride up to Vermont, western Vermont, was certainly worth it. Robert was not a child that really demonstrated that kind of emotion very readily. I mean, he kept himself pretty much under control. I don't think it was something that he did intentionally, but things didn't show or encourage him to break loose and demonstrate with good hugs, and he was so glad. I think he had had a really very, very happy summer and discovered a love of music that he perhaps didn't know existed. But from then on, throughout his educational experience, he did link up with musical programs. I remember that he played a teleman, and I don't know, I couldn't believe that he was able to do that. Robert had a very real talent for a musician. When he was playing, if he lost his place, he was always able to keep counting and join in. Alice was never able to do that. If she lost her place, everyone had to stop. But it was an attribute that Mr. Dushkin commented on after the concert. I remember another event about that concert. We didn't realize it, but we were driving home in a hurricane, and when we arrived back at Lincoln,